everyone. My name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that are focused on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. And we are so thrilled to be offering one of the first of its kind digital, virtual, and continuous learning environments, enabling parents and children to connect from all around the world. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild family, community, and relationships. Our different social media platforms provide us with an opportunity to have discussions and to create space for all topics that relate to family, community, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures for us to live up to our bold slogan, support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development. Better known as leadership in juvenescence, we recognize that in valuing our children's leadership potential, this also translates as recreating and co-creating environments both socially and politically that will enable our children to thrive. For those of you who are particularly keen on the topic, we also write thought pieces every other Monday. We actually have a thought piece scheduled to drop this upcoming Monday, so definitely be sure to meander over to the website and check out our online content. Now, if it is the case that you're looking for a listening alternative, well, we're available wherever podcasts are playing, and we provided you with access to a few links down below. Now, as is the convention, be sure to subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you are aware of every time we post. And of course, if you like these conversations and you want to keep them going, like, comment, and share this segment. Let's get into it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis. And today's focus of conversation is mental health. On the conversation around mental health, I want to talk about victimhood. I want to talk about how we make sure that we don't fall into the trap of victimhood, so that it is the case that we can build anew, because it doesn't help us and it doesn't help the people around us. And so when I talk about victimhood, I'm talking about operating from a victim mentality. So operating from a place of being injured or being hurt and then kind of bleeding everywhere, and making sure that everyone recognizes and understands before they even know who we are sometimes, that we are victimized and that we are hurt. And so I want to have this conversation because I don't think that we want to be the kinds of individuals who want to carry this victim mentality, but maybe we don't know how else to manage the tricky emotions that come up and the big emotions that come up when it is the case that we've been through something very upsetting and very trying, sometimes very traumatizing. But how can we go through the things that life throws at us without carrying this hat of victimhood? And why do we want to not carry this hat of victimhood? Well, we don't want to carry the hat of victimhood because we don't want the tragedies in our lives to define us. And I don't think that anyone wants the tragedies in their lives to define them, but sometimes when you're looking for meaning, when you're looking to find clarity, you can find yourself stuck. You can find yourself stuck in a place of just not understanding why things happen. And so in being stuck, we become angry, we become so immersed in the experience that we've had that we start to identify and relate too closely to this experience, and it's the only thing that we can really talk about, that we can really be about. And all of the conversations that we have revolve around this sense of victimhood, and it becomes its own prison, to be quite honest. And so I want to have a conversation because I believe fundamentally in survivorship. Like, we can be the survivors of the things we go through, and how we demarcate between being a victim and being a survivor is just the attitude that we carry about the things that we've been through. And so I am someone who fundamentally believes that everything that I have been through, I have the choice to grow through. And because I have the choice to grow through it, I really do make an effort. I make the point, and I'm very intentional about not carrying a hat of victimhood. And so what does that look like? One is hostility and animosity. And I find that the one easiest way to take off the hat of victimhood is to let everyone everyone off your hook. And so the people who did something or who didn't do something, the people who enacted against you, or the people who are silent in the face of the things that took place against you, I think letting everyone off your hook, and that doesn't mean you let them back in your life. It doesn't mean you pretend like nothing happened. It's just that you recognize that life will hold every person accountable, or even you can go through the actions to hold them accountable if that's something that's available to you. But in terms of like the emotional upheaval, in terms of the wrongdoing in and of itself, you let that go. You release the energy that came with the injury that was inflicted. And so this is something that I believe in fundamentally. I believe that a lot of the people who injure and who have injured us, that's their projections, that's their energy that they're working through, that they're dealing with. And I don't need to carry that with them, right? So I will manage through the things that I go through, and I will support myself in releasing that energy. If that means holding them accountable, then that's what I'm going to do. If that means cutting ties, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what it is that I can to give myself the opportunity and the ability to release that negative energy, because I recognize that holding on to that negative energy, it shifts me, it changes me in a way that I don't like, right? Because I can ruminate, I can be focused on the things that people did that hurt me, that were so wrong, and it becomes the only thing I think about, I talk about, and it starts to manifest itself as parts of my identity. And that isn't the case. And I think that victimhood is really, really about the energy that we carry. And if we're always carrying the energy of the injuries that were inflicted upon us, then it's really hard for us to find ourselves in that web. And so that's the first one. It's like letting people off your hook, forgiving them, releasing that energy, holding people accountable for, of course, delegating consequences if they need to be delegated, of course, but not carrying that energy, not carrying that hurt. And part of how you know you're carrying hurt is the way that you show up. If you're very defensive, if you're very hostile, if you can't see the role that you've played in the situation that took place. And a lot of these things are like difficult to do when you're still managing through the emotions and you're still feeling victimized. And again, we can feel victimized and not carry a victim mentality. We have been victimized in the cases where we carry a victim mentality, but we need to recognize that we always had a role to play. And that role could be the permissibility. We could have been compliant and complacent in the face of abuse that we ourselves were inflicted with because we didn't know better, but now we know better, we can do better. It could be that we didn't advocate where we felt we could have advocated for ourselves. It could be that we felt silenced, that we felt outnumbered. I mean, there's so many different things that could have taken place. That makes sense, right? But you let it go. You let yourself off your hook as well. You let yourself know that like without that experience, you wouldn't have known better, but now you do. And so you do better with that new knowledge. But carrying hostility and aggression, being defensive and being aggressive because you want to try to shield yourself from those things taking place again, it keeps you stuck. And so none of us want to be stuck. None of us want to be in this place where we can't see the world beyond the injury, beyond the experiences that really have hurt us. We want to be able to give ourselves the opportunity to see the world with more enlightenment, right? And enlightenment isn't just about this state of alignment and well-being. It's really also about a state of wisdom, of knowing, of understanding, which comes through the trials and the hard times in life. And so that was another point that I wanted to put out there, just giving yourself the opportunity to recognize that the lens with which we communicate to others, it can be the kind of lens that make us feel justified in hostility, justified in aggression, justified in being very reactive. And in doing so, we can further isolate ourselves. We don't want to do that. We want to think really mindfully about how we want to show up in a way where we can advocate for our experience, we can speak about it, but we can do it with an open mind and be open and receptive to the fact that people are going to have different points of view about the roles that everyone played, and that's okay. It's not taking away from the experience you yourself had. And not last but not least, I think that it's really important that we recognize that who we are, showing up in our authenticity, is going to dictate who stays and who doesn't. And sometimes we're so caught up in the injury that took place and in trying to justify that wrong, we get stuck in wanting to be seen and wanting to be recognized by people who are just not interested in seeing and recognizing us, or seeing our value, or seeing our worth. And I'm here to say, like, if you want to align to your authenticity, then you let people make that choice, right? Aligning to your authenticity means you're only worried about how you show up, and you let people worry about how they themselves want to show up in response. And if someone wanting to show up in response means creating distance from you, or is a certain degree of apathy, then take that as truth, take that as an understanding of, okay, well, they're just not my person. Like, getting upset and really going over and above and beyond to try to attract people who are just not attracted to you because you feel like it's going to heal something within you to be aligned to certain people, that's a wound you yourself want to address. You want to find yourself in a place where you're at peace with who naturally gravitates towards you, recognizing that those are probably your people, and also at peace with the people who decided to maintain a distance. And when it comes to rejection wounds, when it comes to feeling abandoned, you're never rejected and abandoned by the people who are supposed to be in your lives. You're rejected and abandoned by the people who you thought were supposed to be in your lives. But turns out life is teaching you that maybe there are different people, different individuals who are more apt to be aligned to, and you have to create space for you in your life. You have to create space to attract something that's more aligned to you, or people who are more aligned to you. And so oftentimes I tell myself with an attitude of gratitude that, like, if life is showing me that certain people aren't for me, then that's not for me to like get upset and feel bitter and feel hostile. It's for me to then be in a position of a posture of receiving and waiting to see, well, who is aligned to me, like who will come into my ether, who ends up being good for me and good for, you know, this journey that I'm on and this survivorship mentality that I'm hoping to build and maintain as well. So that's what I wanted to come in here and talk about, some food for thought for you around abandoning the victim mentality and taking on our survivorship role. Survivorship also is about emotional awareness, is about emotional intelligence and aligning yourself to attitudes, beliefs, values, and desires that keep you centered, that keep you grounded, and that keep you focused on the things that really do matter. And those are the things that are often more internal to you rather than external around you. So that's the topic of conversation for today. Some food for thought for you. If I have piqued your interest, then definitely tune in. We do offer self-mastery classes on our website. So if you are interested in joining our community and taking some of these classes to help bring some emotional awareness and emotional intelligence, so I do invite you to tune in. And thank you so much again. As it relates to my stalking situation, no information for you as yet, but when I do know, you will too. And I look forward to chatting with all of you very soon. We'll talk to you later.